And so he wrote this in a blog post. He said, why would God need a blood sacrifice before God could love what God had created? Is God that needy, unloving, rule-bound, and unforgiving? Once you say it, you see it creates a nonsensical theological notion that is very hard to defend. What would God ask of me if God demands violent blood sacrifice from God's only Son? A violent theory of redemption legitimated punitive and violent problem solving all the way down, from papacy to parenting. If God uses and needs violence to attain God's purposes, maybe Jesus did not really mean what he said on the Sermon of the Mount in Matthew 5, blessed are the gentle, the merciful, and the peacemakers. So there's a lot there. What do you think?
From the very first sentence, he sets up a straw man, which he then easily demolishes. He says, why would God need a blood sacrifice before God could love what he has created? And the doctrine of the atonement is that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. It is the love of God that motivates the atoning sacrifice of Christ. So the sacrifice of Christ is not needed to motivate the love of God. Quite the opposite. The love of God motivates God to take on human flesh and to give his life in a supreme act of self-sacrifice in order to satisfy the demands of God's justice. So it's God's justice that demands punishment for sin, rightly deserved. The wages of sin is death, the Bible says. It's a capital offense. And God would not be perfectly just if he did not exact the demands of justice. But because he is loving, he does not exact the demands of justice from our hand, but rather he exacts it from his own. He pays the price himself in the second person of the Trinity, Christ, on the cross.